David, you mentioned early on when you did your opening statement all about green bonds, and I'd love you to clarify how they work, how they're issued, how they're defined and controlled. Can you give us some insight into the green bond market, please?
Sure, yeah. So in the project that we've been working on primarily in this area, that we've done a couple of projects now, and in different jurisdictions, it works a little bit differently actually, because it depends on who the issuer is. But in a project in Hong Kong, effectively the Hong Kong the Hong Kong government via the Hong Kong Monetary Authority was the issuer of the bonds. They issued the bond itself, and then you have the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, which is the local regulator there, which was being responsible for all of the approval processes to be able to get the bond into the point at which investors could actually invest into the bond itself. So we had a process of the bond being created by the Hong Kong government, and then the emission process going through the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, investors being able to invest in that, and then the banks getting involved in terms of the allocation of the in this case tokenized cash, because we're talking about a tokenized cash on chain DLT proposal here, and once that was done and this cash could be used to be able to invest in the bond, then the bond would go into the kind of the longer part of the life cycle, and all of the coupon payments would be emitted to the investors. This doesn't another important part of that process as well, and obviously you have the traditional kind of like redemption part at the end where everything gets paid out to the investors. So another important part of the process as well is the linking up to the what we call like the energy data feeds, or the green data feed effectively, and that's just before the emission process. So basically what we did is we connected to the green bond to the green data feed that was provided to us by a third-party green data provider. They actually have their own blockchain system, so that when the green data is taken off of the, let's say like, I don't know, like a windmill or something like that, that basically the data is is guaranteed to be the data which is coming from that windmill. So when it's installed to the point at which it's received, there's no way that it can be hacked or it can be changed without this system being able to pick it up. And that provides a green data field to the actual bond itself. That data can then potentially be swapped out, the green data fields, during the life cycle of the bond, if that, to be able to make sure that the, let's say the relevance of the bond and the kind of the greenness of the bond is still relevant, and maybe it's just a long-term bond over like 4 or 5 years, whatever. That could generally be kind of, potentially be swapped out. The data feeds could be changed to make sure that you're not, if something happens to, let's say, a collection of solar farms, then we can't associate a new data feed with it in the future. So that's something that would also happen. Did a project in Germany with the Blockbuster 4 project with the German Central Bank and Deutsche Börse. That was also issuing a green bond, and in that case it was slightly different actually, because it was issued via the via Deutsche Börse itself. So it's depending on where you are, the issuance process is slightly different in reality. But the process is more or less the same, but who does what is different in each market effectively.
Just want to bring it right back to Greater Manchester, because I think we've got massive credentials in this space anyway. Not only the mayor's sort of very ambitious net zero targets, but in terms of ethical finance, being the home of a cooperative movement and everything that started there way back in the 1850s. What I want to know is from all three of you, what can Manchester do as a city to continue its heritage as a sustainable finance?
Well, I think, so from my side, I think two things to look at. How you're using your data. So how you use your data to be able to analyze your business, and that's super important. I mean, that's how you're going to be able to certify your business in the future. And that's something that we're, getting involved in. And then the other thing is green coding as well. So if you have people who are building out your website, backend, whatever it is, think about the way that you're actually building that website. Think about the energy that it uses. Everything that you can do to be able to make your developments more efficient is going to be important for us in the future. So I think that's something that you can do at a base level. And then obviously anything in terms of investment, try and use sustainable finance and really kind of push on that side as well.